Pebbles.
Yes.
You open your eyes very groggily. You hear this magical sound emanating from outside the room, and you look down, and down below you is Lucien Nightshade talking to an individual you don't recognize. They sport a very strict color pattern, wearing a very elegant robe, and the magical sound emanating is a portal that the three of them walk through, and it closes very violently and suddenly.
I think I just gotta shrug it off and just go back to bed.
Everlight Kingdom. Ever since the curse was cast, Everlight Kingdom. They're on a quest to save their ass. Journey with us as we tell you the tale. It goes down rough like a pure mountain nail. Everlight Kingdom. Down at Everlight.
If you hail from Everlight Kingdom, you know the comfort of changing seasons, the lush greenery of summer, the crisp air of autumn, the bright blue skies unbroken by storm. But in Oryn, such luxuries do not exist. Here, an endless winter reigns, a frozen wasteland where the cold is as merciless as the beasts that roam it. Once, Oryn was a thriving kingdom ruled by the Icewind family. Now its halls stand in ruin, its people scattered, and its rulers buried beneath sheets of ice. Only one heir remains, Lucien Icewind. Our brash cleric returns home at last, seeking what remains of his shattered kingdom. His mission was clear, to recruit warriors strong enough to stand against the ice dragon that laid waste to his home. But what he finds upon his return may be worse than what he left behind.
Lucien, you are sitting and relaxing in a very hot, steamy bathtub. Sitting, your arms are hanging out the side, you're swirling a little wine glass full of this blue liquor, and your feet are hanging over the edge, the bubbles are covering you are very relaxed. You are in a one of the towers belonging to your kingdom. The floor, the walls, everything is white. The room has a bunch of miscellaneous furniture, and your kingdom banners, tattered as they may be, are hanging on the wall. You are sitting in this bathtub, relaxing. You had a nice nap, and you're also now taking this bath to sort of soothe your wounds. The scars and scabs over you have soap bubbles lined across them that are slowly dissolving, and even though it stings a little bit, it is making the pain somewhat more numb, and it gives you the Hero's Feast benefit. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it before, but...
Sure. I can read it off to you. I got it loaded right here. So the Hero's Feast, a creature that partakes of this gets several benefits. You are cured of all disease and poison except for your curse. You are immune to poison and being frightened, and all of your wisdom saving throws have advantage. And your hit point maximum is increased by 2d10.
For how long?
This lasts for 24 hours.
And am I fully rested?
You are also you gained a long rest while you were here.
10.
Nice, okay. So
I get 10 temporary.
So you get 10 temporary, your HP you get 10 additional, let's just say you get 10 additional temporary hit points. You're sitting here relaxing. Nightshade is not currently with you. She is in a separate room. You look around and your armor has been placed on a stand. Off to the corner of the room, your weapons are there also. The door leading in here is slightly cracked, and you are sitting here in this bathtub sort of contemplating whether or not you should go ahead and get out or not, and then you hear the door slightly creak open, and a woman, her skin is like a slight tint of purple, sort of pokes her head in and sort of opens it up a little bit, revealing very long raven black hair that goes down to her stomach, and she's wearing a flowing dress that matches the colors of your people. She sticks her head in and she goes, "Master Lucien, do you need any help getting out of the tub?"
No. No, I'm gonna keep her now.
Okay, so she goes, "Are you sure?"
Yes.
And so as soon as you say that, you hear, "Good!" And then all of a sudden, all of your bathwater turns to solid ice, and you are just kind of stuck there. And another head pokes around, and you see a face that really agitates you. It is the face of Magnus, a wizard who was very close. He was basically your family's court wizard. And was sort of like a close friend, like uncle figure to you. He's also been really hard on you, so he kind of agitates you a little bit. And he goes, "Then get out of the tub! We didn't bring you back here just so you could stay in here resting all day. Get your ass downstairs right now!" And he slams the door shut. And then the water kind of dissolves.
It's kind of frozen.
The water dissolves back to water, and it is freezing cold.
Well, it don't bother me.
No.
Fine.
So you stand back up. And you start donning your armor. You sort of do little shakes. You get the towel. You do the wipe. You start donning your armor, which takes about 10 minutes. And while this is going on downstairs, the Nightshade is in the lobby of this wizard's tower, which is what it basically is. Sort of a mix between a watchtower and a wizard's tower. There's a lot of sort of royal furniture. There's a few arcane tables and a few cabinets full of different components for spells. And there's a spiral staircase that sort of leans into it, and the main lobby is just sort of this this giant oval-shaped icy room. Nightshade is downstairs. They've given her some clothes to accommodate her comfort level here to sort of help with the adjustment. But they've also left her and her dragon egg to their own devices in order not to overstep their boundaries. They have left her to her own devices downstairs. She is currently playing with, in a little wooden box, there is a collection of ice wolf puppies who are sort of yipping and rolling over, and she's just sort of petting them, having the time of her life. Magnus, the wizard, comes downstairs. He's
Human.
he is a human. Chin is very pointy, and there's like a little white goatee on it. His hair is sort of long and swept back, but it goes right down. It goes down to his shoulders, but it's all swept back. His chest piece has a leather bandolier going across, and the crest is your family crest. He's got very pale skin and very narrow eyes and very bushy eyebrows. Hanging on his belt is a satchel and an orb. The satchel containing a lot of mismatched items that are sort of fumbling out of it as he goes downstairs. He's very grumpy, and Nightshade just kind of hears him muttering stuff like, "We bring him back, we see he goes out on these big adventures, and he comes back, and what does he do? He just rests around, and because he's gotten into bar brawls instead of fighting as warriors." And he's like just kind of curmudgeon about it. Nightshade wants to sort of add something to the conversation and stick up for you, but before she can, she begins to hear the clanking of your armor as you walk downstairs, enter the main lobby of the spiral staircase. You look over towards the left and of the main hall, and there is an open archway that leads out to a small balcony overlooking the north of Oryn, your home country. You have been teleported back here with Nightshade. It's afternoon now. You were teleported here early this morning by Magnus, who has informed you that he has some updates he wishes to share with you. And you guys decided to clean up your wounds and take some time to rest. You decide to completely bypass Magnus for a second, and you go out onto the balcony. When you step onto it, you look over at the north side of the kingdom, because you're currently in the southern side, which civilization has maintained here. There is a wall that has divided the two sides of the country from the north to the south, and that wall is what this watchtower is built on. And behind you to the south is numerous villages and some smoking chimneys and a few battlegrounds where maybe about less than 10 warriors are tending to their weapons and training. And there are a few governing officials returning to their homes for the evening and seeing to the affairs. There's murmurs around the kingdom that you've returned, but you've not made your return public knowledge yet. And as you look to the north, you see the decayed ruins of what was once a very prosperous castle town. Dozens and dozens of houses, businesses, and an impressive in scale castle are brutally severed and impaled by enormous ice spikes that jut out of the ground and tear apart these landscapes. Several frosty explosions frozen in place that create these horrific formations of ice across the land, splintering and fracturing the earth beneath you in what isn't pierced by these jagged ice spikes remains mostly rubble and debris. Several years ago, you would look down from here and see hundreds of civilians going about their day. The fine aroma of cooked fish lingering in the air, the sounds of bustling civilization boomed from below. And now, in stark contrast, the only thing you hear is the howling wind, and you can only smell the earthy odors of snow and ice. As you're looking out at this, you feel two people come up to you. One is Nightshade. I'm assuming this is her first time coming here, so she's very disturbed by the sight and is kind of taking it all in. There may be, you kind of get the impression that she may have thought you were lying until now. And seeing it firsthand, there's like almost a, there's not really a guilt, but there is a genuine surprise in her expression. To your right steps out Magnus, who makes no attempt to physically touch you, and instead kind of accompanies you looking over the kingdom. Very few words are said for a moment until he finally goes, "You get used to the sights after a while."
Why have you summoned me back here?
There's an authority in your voice, one that Nightshade has not heard before, one that clearly carries a royal tone. Magnus, hearing it, also has a little bit of guilt because it reminds him that you probably didn't wish to look back on this so soon. That maybe seeing your home decimated has brought up some uncomfortable memories, but it also is comforting not to see a dragon swirling overhead, though you are cautiously waiting for that moment. Magnus says, "Come in. We have much to discuss and precious little time to do so. Do you need a drink?"
No.
Good. I don't have any.
Hey guys, this is JT. Just wanted to apologize that there was not an episode last week. Gabby and I were in the process of moving to a different town, which was a very, very stressful process. But now it's over and we are returning back to the schedule as normal, so expect episodes to return to their weekly Wednesday format going forward. Love you guys.
We're going to cut to you guys at the table. Not the arcane one. This is like a little dining room table. And spread across it is this parchment map. It's resembling Oryn, but has recently been drawn by some of their professional cartographers, and it's a little disheartening because the sight of your home map being changed makes the drastic situation feel more permanent than you thought it was previously. And so Magnus starts pointing to several instances of it, just sort of explaining what the situation has been. He informs you on deaths that have been happening since your departure, but there is an optimism to it because when you left, the mortality rate was pretty high because people were either suffering from their wounds or because of the dire conditions of the land, people having to travel and move their home south began suffering from hypothermia and other diseases that they can contract, at least the people who are not native to this area. Some of the more hardened warriors and families who were on this land when it was first formed were fine, but they also were the ones who were sticking around as the hardiest when the fight happened, and they soon succumbed to their wounds. So when you left, there was a lot of death. But to your pleasant surprise, there has been noticeably less of that lately. And it seems like the mortality rate has been dwindling, though not completely. So you try to take comfort in that situation, even though there's not much to it, but Magnus then kind of qualifies that and says, "So that is unfortunately the best news that we have."
Was the last time we spotted the dragon?
That's actually one of the things I brought you here for. The dragon is missing. We haven't seen any spottings in a few days.
It was fine. It's nothing serious.
Well,
it likes to hibernate.
That's what's concerning. So the type of dragon that this is, some of our bookkeepers have been studying up on it, and the time of year it is right now, it's harvest time. From what we understand, when a dragon hibernates around harvest time, specifically this type of dragon as its breed is known for, it's got a good reason, and we also have reason to believe that it's female. Therefore, we think the dragon is pregnant. We think we can be expecting more dragons soon. The abominations it brought with it is still wreaking havoc, but without the dragon to accompany it, their chances of survival on their own may prove to be more manageable than with the dragon. There's power in numbers and all that, but we don't know how long this hibernation could last, and if we try to attack it during its hibernation, well, had we had the numbers that we had before, we might be able to look into something a little bit more promising. But with this current situation, and with how few guardsmen, and even with how few people we have, we just simply have no hope of getting it right now. And because of that, we could be looking at more dragons soon. It's not good. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, dragons take a while to hatch.
You say that, you look over at Nightshade, who kind of puts her hand on her egg, like, don't look at it.
We've attacked that dragon with 100 people, still lost. It'll be a while before her babies, if she's doing this, to be fully grown and strong. So we still have a year or two before they're fully able to fight and be hatched. Have you seen any undercover operatives up there to sneak around and look, check and make sure that this information is valuable?
That's one of the things I needed you here for. I need your permission to send out a couple of our more trusted officials because, for instance, I don't know if you remember Flashfeet or not. And Flashfeet was one of the royal protectors, and he says when he's getting up on an age and he wants one last adventure, he wants to look, but as he is assigned to your family, I need written permission from you. Just
send him.
He hands you some paperwork to fill
Send
out.
2 or 3.
Hands you some paperwork to fill out.
Only to search and look, attacking. As they know, they try to attack, they will die.
You add that qualifier in there, like, if this is just a mission, a recon mission. No heroics, no death-defying feats, just gain information, return.
Yes. And you don't have to summon me every time. If you just send a message, to me, to my head, I can message you back as a response.
As you say that, he goes, that's not the whole reason I brought you back. You noticed that when you were explaining your plan to bring back more warriors, you noticed that Magnus kind of stopped paying attention, or kind of looked like his facial expression didn't really seem understanding, and he goes, listen, Lucien, we need to talk about something. This quest that you're on, to bring back some haughty warriors. I understand you're hurt. You have every right to be. Your family, what happened to them, I wouldn't wish on anyone. Lucien, it's been over a year. We're tired. And our people are dying. We need other options. So I've been talking to the ambassadors at the Ronuit Empire. And the conversations have been going really well. And you remember the Ronuit Empire. They're an empire to the southwest of Oryn, I believe. They are a predominantly elven empire with the occasional half-orc family trees, and humans are surprisingly rare. They're an empire that you've been familiar with pretty much all your life. They're a much more industrial empire, whereas your people are more of the elements and of relying on the land to provide. You know the Ronuit Empire instead to be ones who rely more on ever-growing technology, on science, on capitalizing on numerous trades, and to rely on their vast wealth to build incredibly impressive cities in their architecture and in their and in their world to just basically create a very vast, expansive kingdom where wilderness is really not that common. And because of their immense wealth, they're slowly establishing presences in other countries as well, including Everlight, with the city of Theus, an elven city that they were granted by, I believe it was King Lancelot, but I could be wrong about it, or maybe it was Vile Cloudkeeper, who granted them a city in Everlight to sort of have a base for their trades while they were there. In fact, you actually met one of the officials from that country who you'd never met before at the Mid-Valley Harvest Festival, who leads Theus in the Romulan Empire, and you just have not had a positive opinion of them. You think that you may think they're kind of pompous, arrogant, or you may think that they're relying too much on their technology, which just won't save them. And so, him bringing this up is really the salt in the wound for you. So he starts kind of looking over some of the messages that his carrier pigeons and owls have been bringing back to him, and he says, well, the officials over there, they really are sympathetic to our cause. They've been sending supplies, they've been sending supplies, they've been sending food, they've been sending their prayers and their concern. The one thing they're hesitant to send, however, is their aid, because they do believe it's a lost cause. And we need time. And listen, Lucien, I know we've had these conversations before, but Oryn is dying. It's dying before our very eyes. I'm old. I'm tired. I can't keep dancing around this subject forever. You're a good boy, Lucien. You really are. And I know that you have it in your heart to fight, but one of the things that your father taught me is that part of being brave is knowing when it's time to retreat. And Oryn, its people will live on, but not here. So I'm moving. I'm going to the Romulan Empire, and I think you should come with. I think everyone should. And he points at Nightshade, who has been relatively quiet this whole time, just listening in support of you, and he says, I think you should come with. And you remember Aerolith? And Aerolith was a girl that you were kind of friends with. You didn't interact with her much. She's cute, but she's not your preference. You grew up with you would see her every time the Romulan Empire would come to visit for feasts or for trade meetings, or when you would visit their empire, the handful of times that you had, you would also make an effort to see her. The last time you saw her, you were both teens, like teenagers, and Aerolith is a young woman now. She's beautiful, but she's yet to wed. Her father's very strict, very, and you kind of get like this little like smirk and start nod, and like kind of start shaking your head. And he kind of accelerates his speech. She goes, her father's very strict on who he wants her to marry. So you two have always been close. So and he kind of grits his teeth. He goes, he's willing to take our people if you marry Aerolith. And Nightshade goes pale, and she kind of starts reaching for her scythe or just a weapon to kind of like just bash this dude's face in.
I will not. They want they want me to marry them and bring families together because they want our land. Their land is dying because they're building and stripping the resources of their land, and they just want our land. And they'll, help us, but they really want something to gain. And I will not join them. I don't need that much longer. I have things going the right direction, and like I look at the egg, like this one more time. Just need some more time. Well, so I have some things going for me. I have some people I'm with now, still on the move, trying to find other folks. We will get this right. I will come back one day with the resources. Just have to hold it down here for now. But no, they just want to strip our land because theirs is becoming barren for all their industrial work and stuff, country and that, strip our land. So, very fine, but I will not accept.
You make a persuasion check.
9.
9. So you say this, and after you finish, he goes, Lucien, listen. I want to believe you, I do, but Ronuan Empire, they've sustained numerous wars and monster attacks. They're a prosperous land, so to say that their industrialization is fleeting. It's I'm sorry, Lucien, it's foolish. They had mentioned that they want nothing to keep of Oryn once it's gone because they believe it to be a land that is slowly dying, and I believe them. With this situation, well, it's unchangeable, Lucien. This is just part of the times. We need some, because let's say we rebuild Oryn. What happens when another dragon attacks? We're going to get more warriors? And I mean, how many people in this world do you think have a good enough heart to go help some country to the north who they aren't even aligned with to support them? That's unless everyone has something to gain, and we can't keep calling in favors. And if you marry Erlith, you will still be a ruler. You will rule their empire once her father perishes from this land. He's a good man, he makes sense, and I think it's time that he and his land have proven that times are changing, and I think it's time we change with them. And Nightshade kind of pipes up, and they start sort of arguing because she starts making really rash comments, and starts getting really loud at him and starts pointing at him, and she stands up, and eventually he stands up, and they kind of start yelling at each other, and she is very starkly defending you and trying to defend your honor, and the fight is just getting immense.
I'm just gonna bang the table once they stop. I don't want any foreigners taking over this land. This is our land. That was your home too, right? Like it wasn't. We will reclaim the castle. I just need time. I was getting somewhere, and I was interrupted and had to come back here. But for good cause, I must be out there. I'm getting close. I just need some more time. Tell them they don't seem to be going anywhere. Just wait a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and I might consider.
As you finish saying that, the hand that you have slammed down on the table, your gloves have been taken off to sort of embrace the cold of the land because the cold makes you feel good. And he looks at your hand and he goes, Lucien, what is that? He points to your hand, and you look at it, and you forget that the curse's symbol is marked.
It's just a tattoo.
Make a deception check.
15. Oh, it's just 15.
15? Okay. 15 is just what you needed to pass.
It's just a tattoo.
He goes, so, let me get this straight. You have time, but you're out there getting tattoos instead of getting warriors?
I mean, if somebody's like, yo, I'll join you if you let me give you a tattoo, am I going to pass that up?
And
if they're worthy enough?
Did somebody join you from getting that tattoo?
Yeah. They're back then. I had to come here and deal with this, but I was on the right path. I may be able to bring a dragon and help us defeat the dragon.
Lucien, I'm sorry. You're still a young boy. You can't keep expecting to find help and resources. Sometimes fighting isn't the answer. Sometimes the answer is to know when you're beat and rely on this. And he points to his head, and he goes, rely on this. And he points to his heart, and he goes, and he grabs his full lack of muscles, and he goes, stop relying on these, please.
We have never lost a war, and
we're losing this one.
And after one, you're just going to give up? To a dragon?
He goes, we may have never lost a war, but I think it's because this is worse than what any war could do to our people. Yes, Lucien. Because just like your father, I know when it's time to back out. And you should too. I see so much of him in you. That's why I know I can appeal to you in some way to just listen. For once in your life, stop fighting. Stop being defensive. Stop going off and gallivanting on these adventures. Just listen. Silver's alive. Silver is your long-lost brother whose body was never found.
Well, where is he then? Have him go marry that.
I can't because, just like you, he's gone off thinking that he can find something to help or someone to help us. We've had...
Where did you go?
What's that your one?
Why did you not message me?
I didn't want to bring this up. He's been spotted near Everlight. We believe that he's going there for the same purpose you have. And because of that, it's unlikely he'll survive on his own. He has no weapons. He has no armor. He's just a naive boy. And we can't keep relying on sending the rest of the Icewind family out there. Because even if Silver is alive, why did I even tell you this? I need you to listen. He is likely going to die out there, Lucien.
The Icewinds do not give up that easily. We will not.
He gets really frustrated. It's slowly becoming clear he's just not going to get a hold of you. He says, so that's it then? There's nothing I can do to convince you.
So join with them? No.
What are you going to do when Silver winds up dead? And
I already thought he was dead.
you're the last hope we have, Lucien. If you get yourself killed, or if you waste too much time...
Can I roll an insight check to see if he's lying or not?
No, yeah, please go ahead.
I gotta start doing those.
I think this is our first insight check.
I know, because people forget about it.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a very
you can insight, see if they believe it or not.
It's very powerful.
So I'm at the +3 because of my wisdom, so
Okay.
it's gonna be good. 16.
Okay. He is telling the truth for sure.
Oh.
He is this kind of hits you a little bit. This hits you different than he thought it was going to. You can tell he's really choking to get through his words. The only reason he brought up Silver is because he hoped that in some way by bringing that up, he could convince you to lay down your sword and join up with the Ronuet Empire, because now your brother, who has never been a good fighter, doesn't even have much magic to his name. He's much younger than you, because how old is Lucien? In his 20s?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Silver is in his mid to late teens, and he has never spent much. He spends most of his time reading books. He does not spend much of his time studying or training or anything like that. And he hoped that by proving that your little brother is out there and is possibly going to die, that maybe siding up with this empire would have been a good playing chip so you can get back up. But he's now realizing this revelation just takes you aback, and it fills you with this sort of primal rage and confusion and almost emotion. Like you get an almost tears in your, and almost sympathy, like tears are trying to well up in your eyes as you realize that Little Silver is okay. As you call him, Little Silver, he would protest that now that he's officially 18 years old, and you realize that that Silver's still out there, and that he might be in danger, and so you're given this motivation that you haven't really been given before, and he's pressing his fingers against his forehead and massaging it gently, trying to think of what he needs to say next. I'm going to leave it up to you if you decide to let him go any further.
There's nothing else you can say. I've decided. You can give me a year and a half to 2 years, and I might reconsider it. But there's things happening, and I will find warriors. You just have to hold out and do not let anything else happen. Just keep an eye on the dragon. If things get worse here, message me. And if it's a lot worse, I might consider. And of course, relay me the information when the old man goes out to search on what he finds. You just gotta hold out. There are greater things than me happening, and I must abide by them. Let's go.
So you, as you say that, he sort of like presses his fingers against his forehead again.
Stop touching your forehead, man.
You say it really booming, and your authority still rings true. So he kind of sticks his hand down. He goes, picks his glasses up. He puts the little spectacles on, and he takes the parchment that you signed. He wraps it up, ties it. He whistles. An owl swoops down. A very beautiful, elegant white owl swoops down. He places the letter in its talons, and it soars out the window. And you each stand up and watch as it flies off. And he takes down to the village to alert Flashfeet that the approval for his search has gone underway. And as you think that you have successfully persuaded him, Magnus takes a deep breath and slowly turns around and goes, 1 month. You have 1 month before I leave, and I can't promise how many people will go with me. The next time you hear from me, it'll be to report on what Flashfeet finds.
1 month.
And as soon as you
When have you ever been one to give up?
when I also lost a family. So before you can offer a response, a portal opens up in front of you, the same one that brought you here. It starts swirling, and you and Nightshade's cloaks are kind of being slowly pulled towards it because the vast wind that is slowly sucking you in towards it. It's not pulling you in yet, so it's up to you if you're actually going to step through.
So I'm saying just keep me updated. I will find them and bring them back. I will find the resources. I mean, I will take the castle back. Just don't give up so easily.
He clearly hears you, but he has now turned his back to you and is pressing his hands on the table and is looking over the map. And Lucien cannot see it, but his face is distraught and heartbroken. But also, in some twisted way, he is proud of you, and he wishes he was.
Let's go, Nightshade. Should go back and figure out this tattoo.
She walks back through with you, and she realizes at the last second she forgot to pick up a puppy to take with her right as the portal closes.
You've been listening to Everlight Kingdom. Game mastered by JT Fondren. Music by Travis Savoy. Theme song by Adam Blotner. Sound effects and atmosphere from Sirinscape. Special thanks to our amazing players. And a big thank you to our listeners for joining us on this adventure. Don't forget to subscribe to Everlight Kingdom and leave us a review. And check out altaloom.com for more RPG podcasts and stories.
Altaloom.com. Adventures too big for the table.